Welcome back to Ladies Can We Talk with Debbie Georgatos. The second hour roundtable starts now.
Hello there. Welcome back to Ladies Can We Talk. We always hate to talk over our singer here. Krista Branch sings that fabulous music for this show. We just love it, and really kind of captures who we are. So this is Debbie Georgatos, and Ladies Can We Talk. In our second hour, we have my leading ladies are joining me. I have Lori Medina and Mari Sullivan. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Debbie.
And we have online we spoke about before the break. I mentioned Crystal Wright, the founder of Conservative Black Chicks, which is a great name, and also the author of a new book. So hi there, Crystal.
Hey, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're happy to have you on. I just want to read the name of your book. Honestly, I kind of think if you just read the name, the name of the book is Con Job: How Democrats Gave Us Crime, Sanctuary Cities, Abortion Profiteering, and Racial Division. That's just a great title.
It says it all. I don't think I left it. Well, I might have left one or two things out. But.
Well, I will tell you, Crystal, I really, really commend you for all that you do. And this book is I encourage people, our listeners, to read it. I actually download it on my iPad, and I try to highlight things. I realize I'm highlighting like page after page.
I want to hear that, because that means that all my hard work and research, I have 50 pages of footnotes, just so everybody knows. It's not Crystal's. It is my opinion, but I back up my opinion with independent facts. So.
Oh, you most certainly do. And it's hard to choose from among the many subjects. But I think one that's really relevant, and first of all, your basic premise is that Democrat policies actually have been harmful to Black Americans over the last 40-plus years.
Right.
And you want to go ahead and just state the premise, and then I want to talk about...
I talk about the fact that Democrats do the identity politics very well, but the things they peddle to their groups often pit groups against each other. For example, Hispanics, they defend Hispanics and illegal immigration, and illegal immigration is enemy number one to blacks having jobs, to black jobs mattering. And for women, they say, Democrats say, oh, we're the party of women, the war on women is being waged by the right, when in reality I devote 2 chapters to the Democrats' war on the woman's womb and the baby, right? So that doesn't help women's health. What it does is it promotes and encourages women to kill their babies, and it really encourages black women to kill their babies at a disproportionate rate to all other races. I mean, of the abortions that occur in this country every year, you have black Americans that represent maybe 13% of the population, but black women are killing their babies at a rate of 40%. So on and on, what I chronicle in Con Job is that really the Democrat Party is like the used car salesman. It says, hey, we got a spanking new car for you. You just don't want to look under the hood.
Yes. It's a great analogy. And, it's really interesting because we just had yesterday, as I'm sure you observed, in the South Carolina Democrat primary, Hillary Clinton, the a presumptive Democrat candidate for president, just scored a huge political victory, a huge win in her primary, and primarily with Black Americans, citizens in South Carolina supporting her. So how does a serious GOP ever make headway with that kind of...
Well, but and I think it's really outrageous. I mean, we saw Hillary sweep away with the black vote in Nevada, right? It was something like 60%, I forget what it was in Nevada, but without the black vote, she wouldn't have won Nevada. So you have, once again, in South Carolina, Hillary Clinton won more of the black vote, if you can believe this, than Barack Obama did, I think, in 2012 or 2008. So it's really astonishing, because when you pull back the curtains, and I write a lot about this in Con Job, black voters are pushing these Democrat candidates across the finish line and into the White House, and we get nothing in return but more misery. And it's a matter of record and fact that of all the constituents Barack Obama that voted for Barack Obama, black Americans have been harmed the most. He's done nothing to improve the plight of black Americans, nothing to improve our prosperity. The wage gap, the unemployment gap, the wealth gap, it's just an abyss when you look at black Americans compared to white Americans over the last what will be over the 8 years that he's been in office. And if Republicans don't go out there and offer an alternative And I also put the blame and the responsibility on black voters because you can't just continue to vote for something that you get no return on your investment. And that's really what's going on here. Tell me where the return on investment has been for black Americans voting lock, stock, and barrel for the Democrat Party in every presidential election since 1964. You tell me where that return on investment. We are more criminalized, we are dumber, and we're poorer than ever.
Crystal, this is Maurice Sullivan, and I have a question. I've been doing a lot of reading today about the symbiotic relationship between, of course, public sector unions and the Democrat Party. Huge dynamic there.
Massive.
Yes. And I was wondering, and I'm going to get your book and I'm going to read it. And you may not know the answer to this question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you know how many, the black vote is consistently Democrat. How many of those individuals in the black community are working in government, either at the county, state, or federal level? Do you have any idea?
So they're public union people, you mean?
Yeah.
Right, the public workers union. I know in D.C. it's a sizable portion. I mean, I don't know the last time I looked at the statistics, but it's probably, I would think in Washington it could be anywhere from like 1 in 3 workers. I mean, that's how, because we have the federal government in D.C. and we also have the district government, right? And that's part of it. I don't have the figures for it, but we all know this goes back to after LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act into law. You had Nixon come up with the Philadelphia policy, and Nixon actually, many people don't realize this, President Nixon was the one who had to implement a lot of the civil rights policies when it came to desegregating public schools, right? Because you still had school districts in the states that even though we had Brown versus Board of Education and Supreme Court come down on, we had the Civil Rights Act signed into law, you still had school districts across the country who refused to disband segregation. So Nixon actually got a lot of credit for saying, no, you will do this. You can't have this separate but equal thing going on because it's illegal. And then we know what Nixon did. Nixon actually grew government, but he also grew opportunities for blacks to participate in the American, for lack of a better word, dream and enfranchise blacks into the Constitution. So that during that time, which was the 70s, you had many more black people, work in government, get government jobs, because that was the way right after the Civil Rights Act for blacks to actually be employed, right, and have pensions and have ways to save and health insurance and all these things, which I think at the time was a good premise. I mean, it was
agree.
What we should have done, right? But now, I would argue whether it's disproportionate number of blacks working in federal government is bloated. I mean, and that's what we know that we have a lot of Republican candidates running that say they believe, they're running on the platform of small government, but we know they're big government Republicans, that they have no interest in really limiting government. And I think that's, really where we are. And the public sector union, it has gone down. I mean, union membership on a whole has gone down over the last 10 years, over the last decade. But when you look at, for example, the teachers union that supports Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton has sided with the teachers union, teachers union is anathema to black people getting an education, because Democrats will support the teachers union over charter schools, over vouchers, over scholarships. I mean, we've seen this over and over again with President Barack Obama. He sued the Louisiana voucher program when Governor Bobby Jindal was president, but Louisiana prevailed. And you know what? So we can go on and on, but what I'm saying is Republicans need to get out there and say, look, we are the people that are for policies that are going to help you out of poverty, not Democrats. We want you to escape failing schools. We want to give your kids a chance, because we all know that education is a great equalizer, right? That and marriage, family. 72% of black babies today are born into single-parent households to teen mothers who don't just have one kid. Many of them have more than one child. And everybody knows, whether I'm talking about Brookings Institute or Heritage Foundation, you can go from the left to the right, everybody agrees that that is a recipe for poverty crime and lack of education when a kid of any race is born into a broken home. And we're the ones who champion all these things that could help, alleviate what I write in Con Job is the pathology that has plagued my race for decades. I mean, more than a half a century now.
Yes, we are speaking with Crystal Wright, who's the founder of Conservative Black Chicks, which is such a great name. And also her new book is called Con Job, How Democrats Gave Us Crime, Sanctuary Cities, Abortion Profiteering, and Racial Division. And I have to tell you, Crystal, I love how your book is set up because it is heavily footnoted, and it just makes such an overwhelming case on issue after issue after issue that the Democrat Party's policies and approaches have actually hurt Black Americans. And so I would love, so suppose you had the job of advising a GOP candidate how to try to connect with the Black community and convey our ideas. What would you advise?
It's pretty basic. It's not hard. Treat us like you treat everybody else. Show up. Ask for the votes. Do what Governor Larry Hogan did. He's the Republican governor of Maryland. He was up against the lieutenant governor, Anthony, I forget Anthony's last name. He was a black lieutenant governor under O'Malley. Everybody knew that Martin O'Malley's lieutenant governor, Anthony Brown, I think his name was going to win, right? Like, why even bother to campaign? We all know today Larry Hogan is governor of Maryland. He's a Republican governor. And, many people believe the reason why he was able to win is because part of his campaign was going into Black communities where even Anthony Brown wouldn't go. He sent out mailers trying to paint Hogan as a racist Republican who's going to take us back to the days of education. But who was hoofing it in Baltimore, who was hoofing it in predominantly Black areas and neighborhoods? It was Larry Hogan. And he said, look, he took his case to Black voters. He said, I can make your life better. My policies will make your life better. And he put a Black Democrat woman in his ad, and she said, look, I've never voted for a Republican before, but I'm tired of seeing companies, Smith & Wesson, the gun manufacturer, left Maryland. That provided jobs. She's like, I'm tired of not having prosperity. Maryland has been hit hard, and I believe Larry Hogan, and I'm going to give him a chance. So it's really just simple. It's showing up, and it's also not treating Black people like we're like an add-on, right? We're not part of the equation. We're not part of the electorate. No, Larry Hogan didn't do that. He went where the votes are. The votes aren't going to come to you. Voters aren't going to come to you. I mean, they might come to Donald Trump, but, by and large, if you're a candidate, you got to go where the votes are. And you got to say, hey, here's my case. Here's what they're offering you. And it worked with Larry Hogan. It worked with Mitch Daniels when he ran for governor of Indiana. It worked with Governor Huckabee. Governor Huckabee won the Black vote twice when he ran for governor of Arkansas. And also, look, don't tell me, I get so tired. The majority of these campaigns right now are Republican, candidates for president. Their staffs aren't that diverse. So, and guys, the math is not on our side. When, Barack Obama won the White House twice because he didn't win the white vote. He won the minority and woman vote. Because the minorities are the fastest growing segment of our population. You can't win the White House without winning some of those votes. You can't do it. The math is not there. So, these people, don't tell me, I can't find somebody. I tried to help Mitt Romney during his campaign, not even get paid. I was just, hey, I want to volunteer. I want to help. Ignored.
Wow, what a terrible commentary on on a campaign that was not successful. He was
a lousy candidate. And now, I'm sorry, Mitt Romney, he was myopic in his view of the nation and who he surrounded himself with.
Yep. No argument here. We're talking with Crystal Wright, and I want to offer you, Crystal, if you could tell our listeners, because you have a really cool blog, tell them about your blog and where to get your book and what it's called. I'd love to, because it's just a delight to talk with you. But why don't you share with our listeners?
So my blog is called conservativeblackchick.com, and you can find it, just, type that in. You can find me on Twitter at GOP Black Chick. I'm sure I'll be tweeting about the Oscars. And then the book, Con Job, can be found at Amazon.com or at your local bookseller. If you like an independent bookseller, you can also find it at Books A Million and Barnes & Noble.
All right. Crystal Wright, it was a delight to talk with you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks.